Good morning, everybody. I'm Raj Tulsiani, CEO of Green Park and Chair of Race Equality Matters, which I co-founded with Javid. Thanks for joining us at this in-demand event for Race Equality Week. It's great to have so much interest and support here today. We are expecting over 200 organisations from 150 cities and towns, ranging from Birmingham to Brussels, Huddersfield to Hong Kong, Jersey to Johannesburg, and Newcastle to New York. It clearly shows the appetite still exists and the reach we've got to collaborate and be catalysts for change. The focus today is how we make tackling race inequality everyone's business. So before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. As you know, we aim to make our events more accessible. Hence, when registering, we're asking you for the accessibility arrangements we can offer to support. We do try our best to meet your needs. Closed captioning is enabled in the main session. There's also a link in the chat for captioning during virtual breakout rooms we'll share again later. The event is being recorded, but not the breakout sessions, and will be made available to you to access alongside the slides later on in the month. Your sound will be auto-disabled, so please share ideas and questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to respond to these. The chat tends to be extremely busy after breakout sessions, so heads up in advance in case you need to switch off sound of utilising accessibility tools, because there could be quite a lot of pings and distractions. So also, please do tweet and use social media content during and after the event so we can create as big a buzz around Race Equality Week as possible in our 5th year, but also for those people who are in organisations that may feel a little on their own, they know that they're part of something bigger, that we're all trying to achieve similar things. The handles for social media you can see on the screen, at Race Equality Week 2025, at REW25, and hashtag every action counts. So we are trying to reach more people than we did last year when we got to 5 million. So any help would be much appreciated. One way you can show your organisation's involvement on social media is with the brand new Proud to Support tool. You can access this free via the link on the chat. Next slide when you're ready. So to engage and ensure today's session will be useful for everybody and interactive, we're going to try and keep it moving. So we've got our normal State of the Nation poll, 3 expert speakers covering 3 themes, 3 slightly longer than normal collaborative discussions in the breakout rooms to make it how you might be able to make things everyone's business. And then there's going to be an exclusive share of a brand new AI tool in development with my company, Green Park, to support you and your colleagues make inclusion everyone's business. And we're looking to finish sharply at 1:45. And as a bonus, by contributing, you will in the next few years receive 50 plus ideas and insights we'll collate from you from today's event and some of the other things that are going on in Race Equality Week. And we all share the goal to make this everyone's business. As you hopefully know, but mainly for the new people today, Race Equality Matters focuses on providing you and your colleagues with the tools, resources, solutions, access and skills to make an impact on tackling intersectional inclusion through the prism of race, so never leaving race out of the equation. We also look at intersectionality through different lenses in our Race and series, which is sponsored by the law firm CMS. Many thanks to them. We lead through collaboration and create concepts and solutions in collaboration with those with lived experience of racial inequality and our community of change makers, many of whom are here today. Thank you. We also tend to shine a light on other solutions that make a positive impact. For those who are new here today, just to briefly introduce you to our solutions, many of which are utilised during Race Equality Week and the rest of the year. We have It's Not Micro on how to tackle microaggressions in the workplace, the 5-day challenge, we'll talk about that a bit later on, Tea Break, which is a structured and safe conversation to hear the thoughts and feelings of colleagues on key matters, My Name Is, which I'm proud to say reached 1.74 billion hits in its first month. Safe Space Plus, which provides a framework to engage with senior leaders to have potentially uncomfortable discussions that are not just talk, but narrow the conversation into a more action-focused outcome. And the Big Promise tool, which is all about helping turn words into action. So a lot about truth to power, a lot about using structures to help organizations that may have the will and not the skill to actually do something, and a lot about making sure that whatever they do is co-created with us so we benefit from it and the whole organizational culture benefits from it. Crucially, all of our solutions are making significant impact, as these stats demonstrate. So we provide many of these solutions and resources for free, which includes how to do it right, guides and events like today's. We've provided a link in the chat, and you can all find the information in the solution section on the website. We also provide additional resources and events and workshops to our members and partner organizations. All of this would not be possible without the support of our valued and fantastic partners who, along with Green Park, are funding Race Equality Matters. A big thanks must go to our key partner, Lloyds of London, who are also powering Race Equality Week with Green Park and doing amazing things about changing culture across insurance. A big thanks also goes to REM's other co-founder, the Collaboratory, and our lifetime visionary partner, BT. Also, important partners are Auto Trader, HS2, Direct Line, Amy, Network Rail, and CMS. We are a not-for-profit community interest company, so we really do need organisations' support. This is our 5th Race Equality Week. Unfortunately, we're no longer in a position to offer everything for free. I'm sure people empathise, as we used to be able to. So one way you can help is by becoming a funding or commercial partner, like those on screen. We'd love to hear from you. Do get in touch if you can find out, if you want to find out more or what benefits it'll drive for your organisation. Alternatively, to help us help you, if your organisation has a budget to support your race and diversity work, we now offer REM expertise, where we can come and support, facilitate you in your workplace and help one of our tried and tested solutions actually drive value in your organization, and then train your people in return to run them so they become sustainable. If I quote one of our clients, these sessions are a powerful way of helping to nurture understanding and empathy. And that's the first step in creating change. I know a lot of you are not at the first step, but there are many organizations that are still in that bottom category of diversity confidence. And that's something that we know we need to help build up in organizations for allies to be effective. Thirdly, we now have a REM membership program to support you. You and your organizations will be joining 128 members who've joined this year. Membership provides additional support through exclusive access to newly developed REM membership hubs, original content, which has got stuff like early access to new resources, including the 2026 5-day challenge, a license to use the Proud to be a REM member logo, exclusive live and events and workshops for your employees, insights and ideas, and other paid-for resources that members get free, State of the Nation statistics, data, benchmarks, and insights, some exclusive content, and a whole lot more. So I reckon that's worth well over £5,000 in today's D&I environment, post-D&I gold rush, but we're currently offering it for just £599 plus VAT. There is a discount available for not-for-profit organisations. So current members are saying it's really good value and it really helps them. I hope we can add some more members today, and there is a generous 10% discount for anybody who joins in Race Equality Week. If you're interested in joining the 100 plus organisational members or accessing REM expertise, please let us know in the following poll. Okay, so to get going, I'm sure you've all heard enough of me. We'll start with our famous State of the Nation poll, and the point here is really to get you to know who's in the room. So I'll go through these details a bit more.
So thank you for helping, for us to understand who's in the room in the opening poll. So 50% of you are allies, and then more or less 50% identifies ethnically diverse or appropriate equivalent. So it's a 50-50 room, which is fantastic. And what role do you play in your organisation, which is question 2. So 18%, so nearly 1 in 5 of you senior leaders. Top ones are diversity and inclusion professionals, 28%. Race network members, 22%. Then we've got 9% HR, 14% race network leads, and then 32% others. So a real mix in the room today, which is fantastic to see. Question 3, has your organisation participated in Race Equality Week before? 42% saying yes, 24% saying no, and then 35% not sure. So hopefully, you're all taking part this year. Question 4, how is your organisation addressing race inequality? So as you can see, or the stats say 57% says talks and does a little bit of action. And then a further 8% say talks, does very little or does nothing. Only 30% think it focuses on action, not just words. I think in our poll yesterday it was about 34%. So yeah, we're saying 1 in 3 are focusing on action, not words. We need to get that other 2 and 3 into that space, and hopefully today's event will help. Question 5, does your organisation help make tackling race inequality everyone's business? So 55% saying yes. And it'd be great to hear from you how that's working. 22% saying no, and then 24% saying not sure. So some interesting mix of feedback there. Question 6, what percentage of colleagues do something meaningful to tackle race inequality? So only 17% saying the majority. And then, half or less than half is actually 80%. So 80%, half or less than half, feel their colleagues are doing something meaningful. If you look at very few or less than half, it's actually 68%. Sorry, I should say 4% think everyone is playing a part. So we'd love to hear from you, or maybe you're a very, very small organisation of 2 people. Question 7, does your organisation take action on race inequality by creating cultural change? 54% saying yes, and then 30% not sure, and 15% saying no. So about half of you think your organisation does take action on race inequality by creating cultural change. Question 8, has your organisation implemented any of the Race Equality Matters solutions? So the number one is 43% saying the 5-day challenge, and hopefully end of today more of you will do it. 28% say my name is, 16% big promise, which is fantastic to see, and then 11% tea break, and 12% it's not micro. Question 9, has your organisation taken part in the 5-day challenge previously? 29% saying yes, so 3 in 10 of you, 32% not sure, and 33% saying no. Have you personally taken part in a 5-day challenge? And only 34% saying yes, and 55% saying no. So yeah, well, let's get this other 55% to do in the 5-day challenge. Absolutely remarkable, and you hear more about it later. And finally, question 11, do you think a Q&A app for colleagues to ask answers, so also ask for answers to diversity and inclusion questions they may have, would be helpful? For everyone, 26%, and for the majority, 26%. So 52% think for the majority and for everyone. For a few, 21%, not at all, 5%, and not sure, 23%. So loads of interesting feedback. So maybe it'd be good for you to think about where is your organisation on the journey and where are you on this journey. So thank you all for sharing. Really appreciate it. So the theme for Race Equality Week 2025 is Every Action Counts. And as Raj says, we'll be hearing from 3 expert speakers and how they and their organisations are making it everyone's business. And we'll create the opportunity for all of you to collaborate and share your own thoughts, experiences, and ideas as well, so we can all learn from each other as well as the speakers. For those that have attended our previous events, we often create opportunity for these breakout discussions, but they're usually quite short, 5 to 7 minutes. So this time we're going to make it longer for you. Next slide, please. I think just one thing to just raise today. So some of you may know today is Rosa Parks' birthday. And for those that may not know of her, 70 years ago, when there was black segregation on the buses, white seats and black seats, the white seats were full. And then they Rose and a few other people were told to get off the black seats at the time, and she refused. She was then the police then came and took her away, and since then there was a bus boycott. So if you don't know much about then find out about it. But it seems neatly into today's 5-day challenge, which is all about recognizing privilege. And I guess a lot of people in organizations, have to give up their seat or their opportunities for others. So it's just something just to acknowledge and be mindful of. Thank you. Next slide, please. So the format today is how it works. So we'll have the speakers, and we'll have 3 virtual breakout sessions, which are normally 12, which are going to be for 12 minutes. So quite a lot of time to unpick some of this thing. And then what we will do is we collate all your ideas and thoughts and share them with each other afterwards. Okay. So again, that's for all of you. That's free. Okay. Okay, so to get the show on the road, I'm delighted to introduce our first fabulous speaker, who will briefly set the scene for the first collaborative discussion. Oh, sorry, I missed this one. Sorry, what we're going to be covering is how do we move organizations and people from words to action? How do we create change in culture that we want and make it stick? And then how do we make sure that every action counts? So they're the 3 subjects that we're going to be doing. And all these feed into how do we make it everyone's business? Thank you, Sam. Next slide. So as I said, I'm going to introduce you to Mark Lomas from Lloyds. Mark, if you want to unmute yourself. Lloyds help power race equality. So a big thank you to them. And also they're a recognized Race Equality Matters Silver Trailblazer. For those who may not know Mark, Mark is a multiple award-winning diversity and culture change practitioner and has delivered numerous projects in the UK and globally across a wide variety of sectors. So not just what sector he's in at the moment. Mark joined Lloyds of London as head of culture in January 2022 and has done tons there already in a short space of time and leads the insurance annual International Diversity Festival Dive-In, where he engages over 45,000 people annually from 84 countries. So it's fantastic to have him here and to focus on moving from words to action. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Javed?
Yeah, can hear you. Good, thank you. So as mentioned, Lloyds has made significant progress over the past few years, emerging from what was a very difficult and challenging period. What has Lloyds done to make achieving race equality everyone's business and to move from words to action?
I think the most important of all the steps we've taken is the time taken to consult with the ethnically diverse groups in the market and the corporation on what would be meaningful to them. And that has resulted in our Inclusive Futures program, which is a kind of package of initiatives and programs spanning a decade, which support ethnically diverse groups from the classroom to the boardroom, starting with a schools engagement program, early career talent pools, development programs through mid-careers, board-level talent pools and bursaries, and then master's supplements for those that go through our development programs. So and an entire career pathway. And that program was put together because that's what people told us would be meaningful to them in terms of change. And then we like to try and ensure, for those who work in the corporation, that we look at how every part of our employee journey is impacted by characteristics, whether that be recruitment, performance, engagement, etc. And data-led interventions are how we make progress.
Okay, thank you, Mark. What did you have to consider when you look to implement these changes?
So I think the first was kind of a commitment to be transparent about what we learned about Lloyd's history. So that was the absolute bedrock of it. The second was being really, really clear about what we were going to collect in terms of data, both for the corporation and the wider market, and then being transparent about that data. So publishing it regularly across our market, but also within the corporation. And make sure, taking time to make sure that the programs that we design are delivering the impact that A, was requested and B, is needed. And then also looking at how we can do things differently. So a great example of that is we're trying to remove bias in the performance management process and training an AI tool to run across every objective for everybody in the organization and look at how measurable and smart that objective is. And that's really to help move to a evidence-based process of performance assessment. And the aim is over time, along with educating managers and making the process better, to use that kind of evidence-based objectivity to remove disproportionality in the performance process. And we've made significant progress with that last year, and we'll make even more progress next year, I'm sure.
Brilliant, thank you. And I appreciate you shared about transparency and accountability is a key thing we hear from the community. And, Lloyds have been quite transparent, sharing information that's not or accepting things that can always come to all, but at least, we acknowledge and then we're going to move forward. So it's made a real difference. So thank you for sharing that. For the stuff you've just shared, what impact have you seen?
So I think when we went through the process of understanding Lloyd's history and creating the Underwriting Solves Digital Humanities program and creating Inclusive Futures, probably, the wisdom of the crowd probably said that was going to have a negative impact on how interested ethnically diverse groups were in working within the Lloyd's market and applying for it. And the opposite has been true. So we've seen a big increase in applications from ethnically diverse groups, now accounting for 50% of applications. And this year for the corporation, resulting in 40% of hires. As part of our program, we introduced the 1 in 3 hiring ambition late in 2021. And last year alone, that was responsible for 2,874 ethnically diverse hires into the Lloyd's market. And over the period of it running, over 5,000 hires to date. And we'll have the numbers for 2024 in the next few months, and I fully expect that to be over 7,000. A real focus on how we recruit, and that's not just for the corporation, but across the market. We've seen representation increase since 2022. From 8% to 13% ethnically diverse groups overall, from 5 to 9% in leadership. We really are seeing those numbers change. And critically, every single managing agent in our market that we oversee now is collecting ethnicity data. And that is hugely important because it helps us understand what we need to do and informs the actions that we need to take. So if I was to summarize it, I would say transparency is number one, consulting with ethnically diverse groups and creating programs that are meaningful for them, and also reporting that data and using that to be held accountable, and not fearing not having everything right all the time. A program that is multifaceted and designed over a decade will need tweaking every now and then, will need course correcting. But I think broadly, that's been our framework for making sure every action counts. And every single employee in the corporation has a culture objective. And allyship is one of those elements. And so in that way, it is absolutely everyone's business and every action counts because of it.
Brilliant, thank you. And do you have a final top tip for organizations that are looking to move from words to action?
Yeah, just be deliberate about what you want to do, and maybe don't try and boil the whole ocean at one time, but focus on something. Focus on a moment that matters, whether that's performance or recruitment or engagement, whatever the challenge is for you. Focus on that. Collect the data, make a difference, and you can use that to build confidence. And maybe on the back of that, don't give up, because culture change isn't easy and it can take time.
Brilliant, good. I do love the phrase "moments that matter." I might get too short with that, so thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated. Thank you, tons. As I said, everyone, we will have an individual copy of this recording afterwards for people to access later. So thank you for that. So now's your chance to go into our first collaborative discussion, and the topic is how can we, as individual our organizations, start moving from talking about it to action. So you'll go into groups or and you'll have about 12 minutes in there. So don't spend time introducing yourselves because you use up all the time. In the chat now, there's a link to get captions when you're in the breakout session. Have your cameras on or off as you feel comfortable, and if you could just give each other a bit, be fair time to talk about it. So what we're going to do is you go into the breakout rooms. It's the first one, and then you'll be with different groups as we go throughout the day. So how can we or our organization start moving from talking about it to action? So see you in about 10 to 12 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so an interesting one, and as some said in our group about, there's, it's getting away from the tick box. People do things just to look good or tick a box. So if we could just put in the chat now, your thoughts or what you've seen or what needs to be done, where organizations are moving from just talking about it and people are talking about to action. Yeah. Don't worry about typos or spellings. We'll tidy up after, and it'll be anonymous. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll create some all your thoughts and ideas that we can share with you all after. I said, don't worry about typos, bullet point it, etc. That's fine. We'll tidy it all up for you. So we'll give you about sort of like 30, 40 seconds, just a couple of thoughts of how can we or our organization move from words to action, or colleagues. Yeah. So as you do that, we'll now move on to our second set of speakers. How by making everyone's business, we can create cultural change, e.g. a working environment that we enjoy, we feel valued, thrive, and can be our best. Think about, are we in these organizations? Yeah. We are proud to have accredited race equality matters bronze trailblazers Bentley here. Danny Silcock and Andre White will be sharing what they have done, or their organization done to transform their organization culture. Andre and Danny, please unmute yourselves. If you say hello, I can see Danny. Andre, I know you had trouble getting through. Danny is the director of Centre of Excellence at Bentley Motors and has been there since 2005, and has had the privilege of working across various departments, including manufacturing, corporate strategy, and now human resources. So a real very diversity of roles, I'd say. And Andre is a design validation engineer, has worked at Bentley for nearly a decade. He's also co-chair and member of Be United, which celebrates and supports their culturally diverse colleagues with Bentley. So it's fantastic to have you both here today to share your insights. So if I go to Danny first, what were the three things that Bentley focused on to drive culture change through the business to ensure that achieving race equality is everyone's business?
Yeah, so we embarked on this journey about 4 years ago, and before we decided on what we were going to change, we did a little bit of a diagnostic using a cultural model that we got from a consultancy external to our organization. What that showed is we were really strong on results, safety, and order. And this was a time coming out of COVID when there was lots of regulations and structure in place. And that's the way our business had focused. And whilst that gave us a great foundation of doing things, what we realized is we had to move to a more purpose-driven organization with a real focus on learning and enjoyment as well. So some of this non-directional learning and learning more outside of our space. So that's what we did. We looked at programs of how we could set up, focus on purpose as a company purpose, and becoming one of the most diverse automotive luxury brands in the world. And then we also really focused on the enjoyment factors and bringing the fun. What we saw with that is people became more relaxed, became more authentic selves, and we were able to have more honest conversations about things that needed to change from a culture perspective. And then every year since then, we've looked at the actions we've put in place and we've adjusted and we've modified as the external world's changing and the internal world changed to make sure that they remain relevant. And in addition to that as well, just to try and build some equality outside of our organisation, we started our Advance Your Life Chances programme, which supports local charities as well. So we tried to do internal change, but also look what we can do externally. And in doing that externally, also made us a more attractive employer as well.
That's a measure I haven't heard before, enjoyment. And I think if you think about it, yeah, that's a good one to aim for. So thank you for sharing that and the other. So Andre, Danny shared about three things. How did you make them happen?
Yeah, so we had a look at a few different various ways to make them happen, one of which was looking at how we spend time together to make a difference. So we're quite lucky in the sense that most of the colleagues out there do get sort of flexi time as well. So we're able to kind of make up time and kind of contribute towards cultural events as well, which does make everyone want to participate a bit more as well. And we also looked at making mistakes and continuing to move forward and trying to sort of own those mistakes as well. And then not looking at any individual as a particular stereotype as well, and encouraging to try new things and connecting with others that's almost outside of your regular day-to-day job as well. And then back into sort of making time for the teamwork and building relationships. We put a lot of emphasis on this as well, and trying to kind of gauge how many people and who and what different types of people would like to participate in any of our events as well, which really helps in terms of our Be United network as well, kind of growing that and strengthening our bond and skills as well as a group and individuals as well.
Great, thank you. I was just say your microphone's a bit staticky, so I don't know if there's interference there, but we'll try it. That's we could hear it, but it was just a bit of interference, and then in case you're near something. Danny, what has been the impact? So we're all about the impact of these great initiatives on the business and your colleagues.
Yeah, so I think starting with some quantifiable impact. So just to quote some percentage of ethnic diversity within the different levels. So within our leadership team, we now have 4.5% that representation. The level below that within the management, we have 8%, and then 6% of non-management roles are ethnically diverse. 23% of our trainees are ethnically diverse, which shows a strong pipeline of talent. And if you just do the aggregation of all of that, it puts us at 6.8% as an organisation. What does that mean to a company located in Crewe? Well, for the Cheshire East area, 5.6% diversity is what we saw in the last census in 2021. So we are slightly over-indexing, and what we're showing is that we are an attractive employer again and bringing people into this. So that's the objective side, even what we've seen from a numbers point of view. From a colleague point of view, I think we've seen more engagement in topics. I think we've shown a platform where the networks and colleagues can be their authentic selves, and we can start to tackle some of the issues. But also the biggest thing I've noticed around site is celebration as well of events and significant things across the different networks, which really helps bring it to life and bring that sense of belonging to Bentley for all of our colleagues.
That's brilliant. Thank you for that. I think it's really good that you're starting to get the metrics of a pipeline of diversity. So sometimes people focus on one end or the other, but the pipeline is crucial. So thank you for sharing that. Final question, Andre. What would be your top tips for other organisations here today that are looking to drive culture change in their pursuit for race equality?
Yeah, my top tips would be to collaborate with organisations like yourself, Race Equality Matters, and to network as well, and to also be even know about what else is going on, and take a bit of benchmarking and try and explore some new approaches and challenge the existing practices as well. It's always good to have a sort of keen focus on what you're currently doing in your current practices and try to have a look elsewhere at what other organisations are doing as well. And one of the things that we really kind of took into our sort of stride as well was to kind of push the boundaries to drive growth and innovation and trying to see what else can we do that is a bit different. And sometimes you can have funding challenges or event-based challenges and trying to see what you can do to get over them. Sometimes you can do hybrid events, and sometimes you can also join with organisations to put on some events as well, which is quite interesting as well. And then just building that workforce confidence through participation and enjoyment, and continually adjusting those strategies based on the feedback that you receive as well.
Okay, great, thank you. What I might suggest, Andre, is because again it was still a bit crackly. If afterwards we can, I'm going to use the word re-interview you, so we can have a clean version in there, because I think I could hear what you say, but again for some people it might have been a bit of a struggle. But it's really good to share both your perspectives. Really helpful stuff. So thank you both, Danny and Andre. I know Danny's got to go on to another meeting, so thank you for squeezing us in. Really do appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, lovely. Andre and everyone, we're now going to go into our second collaboration discussion, and you'll be with some new people. And the question to discuss this time is what needs to happen in organizations to create culture change? What do you think needs to happen, or what have you seen and experienced that does create this culture change? So a very simple format. Don't spend time introducing yourself. Just go straight into it and then take in turns sharing things, and we'll give it a good 10 minutes. Okay. So if you can go into that, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so my group was interesting, and it's one thing. I think one thing is actually about it's starting to make speaking up, talking, addressing issues an everyday thing. It's going to be uncomfortable initially, but and if it's kept quiet or you can't say certain things or use, then nothing will change. So I think that was a key thing, as well as many other things. But I thought that stood out. So if you could just share in the chat now, give me what needs to happen to create culture change. So these are the answers or the things or the thoughts you're sharing that we'll capture, as I said before, and then share with everyone afterwards. Don't worry about typos, spellings. It'll all be anonymous when you get it. As Raj said at the beginning, we're going to give you 50 plus ideas or solutions from this. So you could just go through these crib sheets and think, that's quite interesting, or that could be helpful. We've not thought about that yet. So thank you for that. Okay. So this solution has been created for anyone who wants to drive meaningful change or develop their leadership style and be more inclusive and productive, but also for colleagues to learn and understand more. They just keep asking certain people the question all the time. So we're excited to introduce GP High Cubed. Okay. The vision is that it will positively change the way people work and bring more productive, inclusive future into focus in the workplace. Next slide. High stands for human and artificial intelligence, and it fuses human insight and AI-driven capabilities together. So that's the idea behind it, is that one or the other is bringing the best of both together. The cubed element reflects 3 pillars: accelerating inclusion, augmenting intelligence, and accelerating impact. In a nutshell, GP High Cubed enables you to ask questions that you need answers to about all aspects of diversity and inclusion. So sometimes we're too embarrassed to ask people, or a dumb question, or just want to check something. It allows you to do that. It also provides access to creative content, and I'll show you all this in a sec. So GP High Cubed has reached the beta stage of development, and we'd love to ensure it's a tool that you all want and need. We want to make sure it works for you. So we're giving you exclusive access to be one of the first to experience it. So let's see how you access it and work. So there's a QR code. Take a photo or a screenshot of it, and it will give you access to log on to it. And you could do this after the day. We're not going to do it live now, but I'll explain how it works. Okay, so when you go on the QR code, it'll take you to a landing page, and you just basically select register today. And the first thing you do is sign up. And I'm a slow typer, and it took me 30 seconds. Okay, so you just sign up, and then it'll take you straight through. And see at the bottom there, there's a box where you ask a question, any question you want, and then it will come up with an answer. So the question we ask is, how does my team and colleagues become active allies? And then tap it in there. That's where it gets from. So this is curated content from Green Park, the diversity section, organizations, and us. So it's not from the web. This is just basically stuff from the community and people most affected by it. Okay, so that's what it will look like. Next slide. In addition, if you want to do deeper dive into this, there's also curated content. So you just click on a topic, for example, business ethics and reputation. You can get access to them. So as per all our solutions, we love to know your thoughts. So to make sure that it does what you'd love it to do. So again, take the QR code and the link, and you'll have to the end of February to play with it. So you can go it once or go on it 100 times to use it. We really do need and value your feedback. So what we'll also ask is you've got an opportunity to just feedback what you think about it. How can we make it better? Is it working? I guess, how can we make it better for you? And to support us, Green Park is going to donate £30 to Race Equality Matters for every survey completed. Okay, so that's one way you can help raise money for us, or the other way around, just give me £30 and I'll let you off on this one. Okay, so as I said, you can go on it as much as you like during February. So that's GP High Cube. So quick poll for questions just to get your initial thoughts on it, the concept of it. I appreciate you haven't tried it yet. So thank you for letting us know your thoughts on GP High Cubed. So 75% of you think it's a good idea. No one doesn't think so, and the 25% not sure. And we can appreciate that because you haven't tried it yet. Question 2, do you think GP High Cubed will help you? 54% saying yes, and again 46% saying not sure. Question 3, do you think GP High Cubed will help colleagues become more inclusive? So nearly half, 49% saying yes, and then 50% saying not sure. I guess once you had a go with it, or get colleagues to have a go with it, we'll be more informed. And final question, do you think you'll have a go at GP High Cubed? So 27% today, and then a further 29% this week. So that will be 56% of you this week, and a further 28%, which will take us to 84%, will have a go this month, which is brilliant. So thank you for sharing that. Now, on to our third and final theme and speaker. So we're delighted to hear from Sophie Brühl from law firm CMS, who is working alongside the firm's senior leadership team. Sophie is responsible for delivering the firm's DEIB agenda across the international platform, driving change at a global level. Sorry, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, DEIB. Sorry, I do apologize. Since taking over the reins of that function, Sophie has been instrumental in bringing about significant culture change across the firm. They've been recognised and celebrated externally by a number of organisations' progress, and was named among the UK's best law firms for diversity inclusion. Sophie is committed to creating an inclusive culture at CMS and driving change at a broader and industry level. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us today, but she kindly did this recording with us last week, which we will share now. Thank you.
What has CMS done to ensure that any actions are meaningful?
So I guess it's an evolving process, right? As you become more sophisticated and you design a strategy, you start looking at different things, right? Usually when you start with diversity and inclusion work, you focus on events, but then you get more specific interventions around recruitment, around career progression, etc. And then the ultimate objective, really, to be sure that you're focusing on the right things, is to be able to measure the impact of these things. So, for example, at CMS, we are now at the stage where every single intervention that we design and implement, we have KPIs and metrics associated to them. So we can measure how impactful and what kind of impact we are having with every single interventions and initiative.
What impact have these actions had?
So a very good example of us using KPIs and metrics to measure the impact of what we're doing and making sure we're doing the right thing and we are building on success is our race reverse mentoring program. So we had a bit of a pilot a few years ago. Last year we ran our first cohort and we're about to launch our second cohort in the next few weeks. And, you know, with impact measurement and focusing on the right thing and building on success, with all of that in mind, at the very start of our first cohort, we started thinking about what do we want to measure and how we're going to measure it, right? So we had, for example, part of the onboarding process, all the participants fill in like a survey about, for example, how comfortable they are talking about race. Do they think that there are different experiences depending on like the ethnicity that you are, etc. So some examples of the change we've seen in the participants and the impact the program is having. We had like a 20% increase in the level of comfort people are feeling in terms of engaging in conversations about race. The mentees, so the senior leaders who are white, who were mentored by ethnic minority colleagues, 55% increase in their understanding of how the working environment is being experienced differently across race. I mean, this is a huge impact in like having that eye-opening conversation and awareness.
What tips would you give to other organisations looking to achieve meaningful change?
So I think first and foremost, it's understanding what are your challenges? What are the challenges very relevant to your sector and to your organization, right? Because there will be trends, okay, in the working environment, in your field of activity, but it has to be very relevant and pertinent to your organization, right? So what are your key challenges? What are you trying to tackle? Be very clear on your objectives. You could try and tackle a million things. and that's the mistake we all do when we do D&I work, right? It's because actually there's so much to do, but you can't do everything well. So you have to narrow it down. So what are the key priorities? And hopefully you've got senior leader engagement and support and commitment. So it's asking them as well, what is a priority for the business? Aligning that with the business strategy, right? You don't want to be over here with your D&I work. You want to be very relevant to what your company is trying to achieve as a business, because then people make the connection and then you become suddenly a tool, a medium to achieve the ambition of your business. So you're making yourself very relevant.
Also, CMS power our race and intersectional series. So members get free access to that, but other people can access it as well. So thank you, Sophie, for that. One thing Sophie and the other two speakers or three speakers said today is actually all about clear focus. No focus on one thing or key thing, not too much. They'll boil the ocean, as they say. So that's one thing to do. I said we'll have a copy of these recordings afterwards for everyone to re-access. So thank you for that. Before we move on to a collaboration to talk about that, can we just do a sort of final poll just to get your take on what's working today, how it's helpful, what have you learned, etc. So we'll just take about a minute or so. Please do fill this out. It's really helpful for us to make sure that we're able to provide you and build on these sessions to make them work for you. Thank you all for helping with the final poll. So it helps us understand how we can help you more, what's working, maybe what's not working, and how we can help you make a greater impact. So question 1, 91% of you would recommend today's event to others, which is fantastic. 7% not sure, which is fair enough. Do let us know how we can. Did you learn anything new today that would help your organization be more impactful in its actions? 87% saying yes, which is again fantastic. So thank you for sharing that. Did you learn anything, or did you learn and hear things you wouldn't normally have access to? 82% say yes. So that's fantastic, because we know people's time is very precious and there's loads of events and things you can go to. So if 82% of you learnt or heard things you would normally have access to, then we've really helped. So we do appreciate that. Did you hear or learn anything that you will use? So 58% say yes, and a further 28% yes if you had authority. So in effect, if you had the authority, 86% of you will use something. So that's a big, huge thank you to our wonderful speakers, but then also to each of you for contributing and supporting each other in the really powerful breakout sessions. Was it helpful to hear from our speakers? 95% of you saying yes. So yeah, they were fantastic today. So thank you to all of them. Question 6. Are you better informed on how to take action on race inequality by moving from words to action? So 76% is saying yes, 5% say no, and 19% not sure. So 3/4 of you feel better informed on how to take action by moving from words to action. Are you better informed on how to take action on race inequality by creating cultural change? So do you know how, or feel more comfortable creating cultural change? 66%, that's 2/3 of you, say yes, and then 29% saying not sure. Question 8, are you better informed on how to make sure that every action counts? 71% saying yes, and 25% say not sure. So the theme for Race Equality Week this year is about every action counts. Question 9. Would you be interested in Race Equality Matters running a 5-day challenge session in your organization later this year? 34% say yes. So 1 in 3 of you, which is fantastic, and then half of you saying not sure. So that's fine. So thank you all for completing the poll. Fantastic, thank you. For those, yeah, if we could just put in the chat, how can your organization make sure that everyone, every action counts, versus the tick box? If you just put it in the chat, I said this is, if you think about, if everyone puts one thing in the chat, we'll have 100 things. So, we could all contribute. Don't worry about typos, spelling, etc. like that. And then we will anonymize it as well. So this is all about our way to get it. But this is where, you put your own idea, but you come away with maybe 130 other ideas as well. What we do, we also highlight, say a number of you said the same thing, we will highlight it in the thing. Quite a lot of people said this. So you can look, oh, that's quite a common thing. It might be something you're doing or something you're not doing. So I'll give you sort of like about 30 seconds of that. And then what I'll do is I'll share what's in the pipeline for yourselves this week and beyond. Okay, I'll let you carry on with that. So we were talking about learning and educating and people understanding different matters and issues. So in our group, I touched about the 5-day challenge, and maybe not everyone's doing and looking at it. So I just want to just quickly introduce you to a 2-minute video about the 5-day challenge.
RaceEqualityMatters.com, Race Equality Week, powered by Green Park and Lloyds of London, from the 3rd to the 9th of February 2025. Hashtag every action counts. What are you doing for Race Equality Week 2025?
It's Pete Miles from the Environment Agency, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
I'm Gaia from ThoughtWorks, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
Hi, I'm Javid Thomas from Race Equality Matters. I'm doing the 5-day challenge. I hope you are too.
So what is the 5-day challenge? 5 challenges that take 5 minutes, 5 days to change the world. 5 daily challenges, each with a daily theme. An eye-opener for each day. And videos for each theme. And each challenge takes just 5 minutes. What is good about the 5-day challenge?
What was really good about the 5-day challenge was that it was bite-sized challenges. That was really helpful for us because people are very pushed for time. But at the same time, the feedback that we had via survey afterwards was very good. People still felt that it was very thought-provoking, it was educational, and people felt that it had both a positive impact both on them and the organisation. In particular, feedback we had was that people felt more confident in calling out racism and being more actively anti-racist, which is brilliant.
87% believe it will have an impact. Thousands of organisations across the UK are doing the 5-day challenge, reaching over 1 million employees.
Green Park are doing the 5-day challenge.
It's also happening across the world.
سلام من شکوه هستم و من
Hi, Mokumia Blaze Nanji Mofa CDW. Morgen the challenge in Garnier Tan.
Ich mache die 5-Tage-Herausforderung.
Join us and take the 5-day challenge, individually.
Hi, I'm Cara from Colleague Cymoedd, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
I'm Clark from High Speed 2, and I'll be doing the 5-day challenge.
Hello, my name's Tune. I'm a DEI consultant for Work Gym, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge. Hope you are too.
Or you can do it collectively.
Doing the 5-day challenge.
That's now live on our website, the daily PDFs. You can do it, download it, email it to people. Some people put it on their staff portals, etc. So it's there, and it's there for all year. And there's previous 2 years as well. They don't go out of date. Okay, so this year we're doing masking, intersectionality, inclusive learning. So you learn, and your colleagues can learn about these subject matters within 5 minutes. Okay, and there's more deeper resources in there if you need it. So what's coming up? So on Thursday is our next thought leadership event that you've asked for, and it's called Belonging or Bust. How do we make our staff feel they belong, or our organizations aren't going to survive? So again, it takes place at the same time. We'll be discussing the difference between inclusion and belonging, how organizations can better address intersectionality, and how allies become active allies. And I know in a couple of my groups that this was talked about. And we hear from engineering firm Amy, Bradford, multiple district city council, and Sussex Police. So a diverse range of organisations there. Again, there's a link in the chat to go on our website. Here are a few of some of the organisations you might bump into that I've already registered for it. We also have the annual Race Equality Week closing event. No fireworks or live artists on stage for the closing event, but it's a chance for us all to get together, share our experiences, thoughts, and celebrate and hear each other what happened during Race Equality Week and learn from each other. And in March, we're holding a live tea break event. So we're going to run a tea break to talk about a subject matter on microaggressions. Again, it's free for member organizations and there's a slight charge for non-members. So if you want to become a member, now's the time to book up for it. And then finally, thank you to all of you for joining today, because I went into 3 brilliant breakout groups, which was phenomenal, and hopefully you've all learned from each other, and thank you all for sharing. Also to our wonderful speakers, Mark Lomas of Lloyds, Andre and Danny Silcock from Bentley, and Sophie Brule from CMS. Also need to say thank you to a huge Race Equality Week and key partners. We can only do a lot of stuff for free this way, but there are other ways you can support us. And I think it's really important. Race Equality Week to me is the start of the year. It doesn't end on Friday or Sunday in our organization. So basically, do check out our free solutions if you haven't done so already. And remember, we have Race Equality Matter experts where we can come in and help you. You can pay double not to have me come in. There you are. There's an option for you. And remember, our Race Equality Matter experts can help you. And we built this with the community. So we've spoken to hundreds of, if not thousands of organizations now to understand what's working and not working. And don't forget, there's a 10% discount to become a member, which ends this week. So if it's all about budgets and savings, utilize that. And if today was helpful and your organization would like to make a donation, any token as a way of saying thank you would be most appreciative. I said, we are a not-for-profit, okay? And it is tough and we want to keep going so passionately, so important to us. Please do help. And I know some of you have already donated, so big thank you to you. And finally, remember, we can't change the past or what's happened, but together we can change the future if we make it everyone's business so that every action counts. Have a positive rest of the Race Equality Week and do look after yourselves. Thank you all. For those that are here, if you want to put one word on how you're feeling at the end of this event, and don't say fed up, just put one word in there. That'd be lovely just to create. We could maybe create a sound, not a sound, a think cloud at the end. I guess we've seen a great, brilliant, inspired, which is great. Hopeful, thank you. Yeah, hopeful is quite important. So thank you for sharing that. Inspired and grateful, positive, energized. Yeah, and that's a good thing to go back to our desks with, because we know it's a tough week. Our work is tough, lives are tough, but as a community, we're all together on this. Thank you so much for that, and we'll see you. Do keep us posted on social media. Let us know what's happening that you're doing in your organization. Send us any photos, and then we'll try and include you in our closing video or in our stuff later on in the year. Yeah, because we're a big community. So thank you all, and I'll see you on Thursday.